Everybody, it's Anthony, Spoken Anthony. Like and subscribe, leave a comment here. I am working on a new video and some thumbnails, and I figured why not take the time to go ahead and let's talk about life, to give some updates and get some opinions about stuff. The main thing I want to talk about is the cheating girlfriend. I will say this in my lifetime, I believe I have dated more women who are married who are actually single. And what I mean by that. So, I am, or I was, seeing a woman. And just for full context, well, maybe let's get a backstory first. So I was dating this woman. Me and her didn't work out. I think we only dated for like maybe a month or two. And then once me and her stopped talking, her friend slid into my inbox. And then we started talking, we started dating and whatnot. But as soon as we started dating, like, she'll always accuse me of cheating. And I even said to her, I said, look, if you're accusing me of cheating, that means you most likely are cheating yourself. I don't have a habit of cheating. I don't have a history of cheating. I'd much rather leave you before I cheat on you. And besides, if we're being really honest here, it's kind of grimy. You slid into my DMs when I dated your friend. So, with that being said, when I met her, she had a ring on that looked like it was like a wedding and engagement ring. And she was like, yeah, I was married. I'm not married anymore. That's what she told me originally, right? And then as time got on, then I mentioned, because she has two kids. And then as time went on, she was like, no, I've never been married. And I was like, wait a minute. When we first started talking, you told me you were married and you had on two rings. Then she was like, oh, well, no, I bought that for myself when we were together. We weren't really married. I just didn't want people thinking that, we were having kids out of sin, yada, 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 right? Now it's like, okay, did I believe her? No. Is she telling me she's single right now? Sure. Were we doing things that a married woman shouldn't be doing? 100%. But I didn't have any proof. Excuse me. I didn't have any proof, but the way she came at me originally of her telling me that or her accusing me of cheating, and then her with the ring and the way we met, it made me think she wasn't the most honorable, honest person. But it is what it is. I thought she was fine, so we kept talking. Fast forward to some months later. I'm just scrolling through Facebook, and I was just curious what would happen if I just typed in her name. And whenever you type in a woman's name or anybody's name on Facebook, right, it will show a lot of the time like what groups they may be in, pictures, things of that nature. So I did that, and I saw that she was part of a dating group. Now, for a pre-test, I was just saying, hey, you know what? Have you ever been on a dating site? Have you ever been part of a dating group or anything like that? And she was like, no, I never did that. I never did that. I don't believe in dating sites, yada, yada, yada. So here we are, fast forward. There she is. She was in a dating group, took a screenshot of it, sent it to her. And then she was like, oh, that was a long time ago. Granted, the picture I did see of her was for 2020. She said she forgot about it, right? And I was like, oh, okay. Well, okay. Well, you told me you never did that before. I didn't judge. I was just curious. How do you normally meet people? Do you meet them organically? Is it like through the Facebook dating? Was it just all this other kind of stuff? But, I let it go. But the whole entire thing in the back of my head, is she really married or not? Let's see. Let me scroll through some of these comments. Who are talking about a woman I've been seeing, not seeing her anymore. Hello, hello, hi, Martin, hi, Amanda, hi. So just to keep going with the story, fast forward a little bit later, we're still talking, we're dating. She gets really jealous, like insanely jealous. It's the weirdest thing. It'll be things outside of my control too at times. And when you're younger, you're cool with dating a jealous woman that acts already possessive. When you get older, my age, you really just don't care for her too much anymore at that point, right? You're just like, okay, just suck it up. It is what it is. So later on, right, remember how I questioned if she was married or not, or she was still married. Because she dropped hints that, she still talked to her ex. She told me she stopped for me. She told me her ex-husband called her. Again, she said it wasn't her ex-husband, is her ex-husband, whatever. She said he called her so he could see the kids or whatever. when she told me they didn't talk anymore. I was like, all right, whatever, you have kids together, that's kind of expected for him to pop up. But I kid you not, she uploaded a picture on Facebook, like a brand new picture. And then there was a guy on there that left a big kissing heart emoji thing underneath her picture. So I'm just looking at it and I'm just like, I wonder who this guy is. Click on the profile and guess what I saw? It was her ex baby daddy husband, and he still has pictures of him and her together, him and her, the kids, all together. Granted, none this year or like the past year. They're like all pictures from like 2019 to 2022, 2023-ish. But I just know for me personally, I'm still not gonna have pictures of me and my ex-wife or pictures of me and my ex baby mama still on my page if me or her are broken up. And I'm definitely not gonna be sitting there leaving comments of big heart emoji things underneath there if we're really still single. I mean, if we're not together. So I thought it was odd. I was like, okay, so what is this like some kind of hustle? Are you sitting here dating me and trying to use me and then trying to help him out? Like, what's going on here? This doesn't make any sense. I know as a man, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to sit here and have my ex all over my profile. Hell, I have a baby mama and an ex-wife. If you look at my profile, you won't see a picture of either one of them on my thing. Not one ex is on my shit. So here I am. I'm just like, okay, so what's going on? She was like, well, no, I can't control what he does, which is true. She can control what he does. But I'll say, okay, that's true. But why is he leaving like a big ass kissy heart emoji underneath your brand new picture you just uploaded when you told me y'all don't even talk anymore? And you told me that he moved on to somebody else and that he cheated and that's why y'all not together. You see what I mean? It doesn't add up. It doesn't add up at all. So, I let it go. I was like, all right. So I went to sleep, right? So she was determined to try to find something on me. So she is like, so when I wake up, how come you left this comment on this woman page? So I left a comment on a woman's page talking about how good she looked. And guess how old that comment was? That comment was from 2023 before I even met her. Late 2023. Late 2023, before she was even a thought. Now I laughed. I said, so that's the best you could do. So you're the one that has your husband, your ex-husband, I don't know, leaving a comment on your shit. Uh, but you don't think you can find me something from like almost 2 years ago at this point. Okay. 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 So what do you think I did in that situation? Do you think I stayed with her? Or do I just like let it go? I let it go. I was like, this is too many questions. I mean, from Jumpstart, when we first started talking, you accused me of cheating. When I don't have a history of cheating, I don't have a history of lying, I'm single. For some reason, when you're a decent guy, women tend to think that there's something wrong with you. Like they project all the shit they had going on with their exes and they project it onto you. So they make it seem like, oh, okay, he seems like he's a nice guy. Okay, he must have a girlfriend or wife. He must have like 5 kids. He must be a scammer. You just cannot be a hardworking man in this world, especially in America. You gotta have some type of red flag that comes along with you. I'm this type of man that, in my age, I'm just like I don't have time for the fuck shit. Think about it for a second. I messed up crazy and got a kid. After that, I made sure I would never have another kid again because, realistically speaking, growing up, I always said I never wanted a kid. So when I had the one kid, when a woman ended up setting me up to get that kid, when I had the one kid, I was like, you know what? I'm never going to get set up again. Never. So there we go. I'm not one of those men that have 2, 3, 4, 5 kids out there. I have the one, my one daughter. I take care of her. I love her. I raised her. I was a single father. I did everything I could for her. Then you go ahead and I tried the marriage thing, right? After I got myself financially stable, well, more stable, I was still more working on the more financial part because um, I had bought my house, I had paid off my car, or I was paying off, no, I had paid off my car, I think, when I met my ex-wife. And, my daughter's school doing well and established and stuff like that too. So I was like, okay, I'm more open to dating to something serious to see about potentially getting married, right? I mean, when you're in your 20s, it's all fun to go around trying to go from female to female and things of that nature. But when you're in your 30s, it's kind of lame. When you're in your 30s and 40s and still acting like a hoe, it's dumb. Grow up, grow up. When you get to a certain age, you gotta learn to grow up. You have more discipline when it comes to your genitals. That's just my opinion of it. So I went ahead and I dated and got engaged to and married a woman that I thought was good. I thought was good, but it is what it is. It didn't work out. So when you've been set up by a woman to have a kid, when you've been married and divorced, and now when you're like older and you start dating now, you're just kind of like, you know what? I just don't have time for the same games like I used to when I was in my 20s. So yeah, that's just what it is. That's what I just find funny about it. Also, if you watch, go ahead and like and subscribe. I appreciate it. Let's see here. But yeah, it is what it is though. That was just my short little story there. I was kind of just curious what y'all think about that. Um, Whatever y'all want to talk about, just go ahead and just leave it down there. Like I said, I'm just working on my next YouTube video. Um, Let me get that closed out too. Thank you for the likes, of who gave me the likes. That's why when I see DDG's situation with his baby mama, I honestly with DDG, he is very successful when it comes to his streaming, YouTube stuff like that. But when it comes to representing himself as a father, he's kind of messing up in that area. And the reason I say that is because even though I believe 100% of the messages that DDG put out when it comes to him and Halo, excuse me, him and Haley, uh, the problem is though, judges have a natural bias towards women. And even though that may have been stuff that she did before she met him and stuff she did during they were together and after the baby was born, they're gonna look at her behaviors now. They're gonna look at his behaviors now. So when you see DDG out here starting beefs, starting drama, wanting to fight people, and I'm talking about the stuff at the streaming university, the little petty back and forth he had with what was it, Little Rodney or whatever. Um, Haley could try to use that to show what kind of a man or character he is. I get it; it's all for entertainment. But whenever you're going into court, you gotta be on your best behavior almost 24/7. And I get it. California is a different state, especially LA. So I'm pretty sure they may not be as stagnant when it comes to, or they may be more fluid when it comes to understand, hey, these people are performers. This is how they make their money. So yeah, but those character witnesses are gonna be one hell of a thing too. I don't know about just me personally. I just think sometimes DDG just got to relax with some of the beats he be starting right now while he's in court for fighting for his son. That's just my opinion on it. Not getting my opinion as a man who's been through the court system, who had to fight for his daughter and won. And won. Keep that in mind. And it's not going to be a one-stop battle. So let's say even if Haley, excuse me, went ahead and got whatever she wanted in the court, that's not going to be the end of it because you can always file over and over and over again. And he has the money to keep fighting over and over and over again. And if he's telling the truth about how deep his money is, he has more money than her to fight her. It's not like it's a situation to where she's the rich person and he's broke. I think he has more money than her. So ideally, he could just wear her out in court and drain her of her funds and resources. It doesn't matter who's really backing her because the machine that's backing her right now is starting to have its own problems. So I don't know. That's just my opinion of it. I wish you the best. I'm all for fathers being in the kid's life. I'm a father myself. Like I said, I have never known a black man not to be in their kids' lives. Not a one. If you haven't already, go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate it. And like I said, I just gave a brief little story of, you know, me dating a woman that was obviously cheating. I just didn't have no actual proof, but the proof is there. The proof is there. All you gotta do is read in between the lines to pay attention to details. That's for the one thing I cannot stand about TikTok. You get so many spam emails. Stuff is dumb. I never actually went live on TikTok. Maybe I should give that a try. Hmm. No, thank you. I kind of, that's what I'm going to do. I do want to kind of talk about Chad and Ocho Cinco eventually. I mean, Chad Ocho Cinco and Shannon Sharp. Because I have a gut feeling that he's going to end up taking Shannon Sharp's place. If any of y'all ever did a TikTok live, y'all know the benefits of that program. Never used it before. Just kind of curious because I keep getting invited to do TikTok lives, but I don't really use TikTok like that. I normally just go on there to get clips if I'm gonna do a YouTube video.